because I think I paid too much.
I always wear my mask and wash my hands after going home.
I am the king of the ring.
Welcome to the Japan WUT Podcast, episode 227. And I'm your host, Matthew PMBigelow.com. Coming at you from the Aizumicho Studios in Shinjuku, Tokyo, Japan, the armpit of Asia. Covering AI trends, Japan Society 5.0, the supply chain wars, rising conflict in the Indo-Pacific, demigration, migration, all that good stuff, and more. Thank you for coming along the adventure that is today's show. Got my 1-month-old son riding shotgun in here with the studio today. We'll see how far we can get with this, but if you hear protests in the background, well, they teach them young these days to go against what daddy says. We'll use this as a test to see just how young are they taught to go against what daddy says. You can hear him in the background. So we had the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo last weekend, and basically they shut down like the city for the marathon. If we think about how crazy social media influencers are trying to get clout by getting in people's faces here, there, and everywhere, and how that's very upsetting. I've never actually been interfered with by a social media influencer trying to get clout by stirring up shiznat on the street. But I've been living in Tokyo now for 20 years, and every time there's a marathon, it just gets in my way. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, why do we have marathons anyways? Why do we have to have a bunch of people shut down the city so that they can run in the street? I don't mind if they do the stick throwing, at the stick throwing stadium or the spot. I don't care if they do the high jump in some building somewhere. I really don't. Go. I hope you make all the money and get all the fame and everything you want. But why do we have to shut down the city just so that people can run down the road? The more I think about it, the weirder it is. And people go and line up along the side of the road and go, yeah, go for it. Gambare, gambare. You're running down the middle of the road. Because I wanted to go to the park, but it was across the street from where this marathon was going. And I couldn't go to the park. I had to go like a 30-minute detour. Not the worst thing in the world. But as I'm like getting inconvenienced, there's a massive police presence. They have buses everywhere blocking off the road. Massive teams of volunteer squads making sure everybody is following the rules. You cannot walk here. You cannot go there. And then like just some people run by the middle of the road and everyone's going, yeah, gambare, gambare. And I kind of go, what the hell is this? We're having a marathon here. Why? So that 10,000 people can run down the road. Well, don't we need those things? Aren't there places for people to run? And I'm so radicalized by marathons now. Like I really, truly hate marathons. In my mind, I was like, well, Shinjuku and Tokyo isn't the nicest place to run around, to be honest with you. It's just nondescript apartment buildings with convenience stores everywhere. You get the occasional landmark, but if you're just running around the city, it's like on the major roads, it's not really that interesting. I was like, well, why don't they just run in the woods somewhere? And then when they get at the end, my brain hates this so much. It goes, there's a whole bunch of machine gunners there waiting and they just gun them all down. I was like, yeah, I have a problem with marathons. I truly do. There needs to be, why not just run around a circle in the stadium? Why does the marathon have to go through the city? I don't get it. I really don't get it. The marathons in cities should be banned. It should be a thing of the past. There's too many. We need the city to do city stuff. Imagine if I just took like a few apartment buildings and put them into somebody's farmland for an afternoon and said, we're having a city party. We're going to put cities all over your farm and we're just going to go back to the city with our city. It'd be like, why are you doing that? Why don't you go to the city for your city? This is a comparison that I shouldn't have made, but it still stands. And I will play this to go with it. All right, on with the podcast. My little rant for the day is over. But I will say this. The athletics championships are the most boring things for sports ever. This is caveman stuff. You run, and that's one event. Then you throw a stick, and that's another event. There's no combining running and throwing. There's no real sports. It's all track and field. We're going to run. Then we're going to have hurdles. Then there's going to be some water next to some of the hurdles, and you have to splash through it. Then you're going to have a high jump where you run in a straight line and go over a bar. Then you're going to have it's stupid. I mean, do we really need to have something like the World Athletics Championships interfering with our lives? Really? Some people can go throw a stick. You can do that anywhere, by the way. You don't need to all gather in one place to throw the stick. Fuck off. Sorry, I might edit that part out, or I might just add some echoes to it. So let's take a look at a couple of science things. Lots going on in the world of science these days, and I may as well cover it because that's what's going on. So let's take a look at science. Now, Japanese people are really good at science at the cellular level. When you get down to the real nitty gritty, and like one of the things that makes maglev trains much more feasible than they used to be is because a Japanese scientist figured out the way to reduce the required heat from like minus 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit to minus 200 degrees Fahrenheit by combining some very tiny things together and understanding how they work and operate, and boom, now we can have maglev trains if they ever get built, stuff like that. And it goes into all sorts of things. So this comes to us from the Mainichi, Japan's national daily since 1922, published on September 15th, 2025, and we're recording this on September 17th, 2025. A group of researchers at Kinda University has succeeded in collecting roe and hatching fry from Siberian sturgeons after artificially switching their sex from male to female, the team announced, opening the way to creating more egg-producing fish. Trans fish. Is that the title of this podcast? Trans fish. The researchers at the Japanese Science Transfish. The researchers at the Shingu Station of the university's Aquaculture Research Institute in Shingu, Wakayama Prefecture, called their feat achieved earlier this month a Japan first. Some Sanseito guys over there and ladies that will help improve efficiency in caviar production. The group plans to make an oral presentation at a meeting of the Japanese Society of Fisheries Science to be held at Hiroshima University from September 24th. The team comprises Associate Professor Toshinao Ineno, 60, and Assistant Professor Ryohei Kinami, 43. The Siberian sturgeon is resistant to water quality changes, and its eggs can be made into caviar, a salt-cured roe, in around 5 years after its birth, making it the world's first commonly bred species. In Japan, caviar producers often raise only female sturgeon after singling them out at the juvenile stage. At Shingu Station, researchers artificially hatched fertilized eggs imported from Germany and orally administered female hormone to the fry, successfully turning all the juveniles into females in 2019. It was later confirmed that one of them, aged 7 years and 2 months, was incubating eggs, and a DNA analysis revealed that the Siberian sturgeon was originally genetically a male, meaning that a sex-switched female can bear eggs. Furthermore, the team managed to collect some 68,000 eggs from the same sturgeon and successfully fertilized them before hatching some of them. When the team examined the hatched juveniles after random sampling, it confirmed that all of them were male. This apparently proved for the first time in the world that the fry hatched from eggs of a sex-switched female Siberian sturgeon are genetically all male. The findings came after years of research and continued breeding. The team plans to advance their research at the station to make all juveniles born female. They start with the sturgeons, and they end up with you, Mr. Man, listening to this podcast. Soon there will be Japanese scientists capturing you, neutering you, and turning you into a chick. Then you can have a nice hot box of your own, just as God intended. How is this going to affect the price of caviar in the future, though? Hopefully it'll reduce it to pennies, because then we can all enjoy caviar. I have had caviar maybe once or twice in my life, and it was just like a tiny little bit on something else, like maybe some sushi one time. But caviar is not really something I really go in for. I usually like the Japanese style caviar, the mentaiko. We call that the spicy Kyushu caviar, something like that. Spicy spicy Hakata caviar. It's like $6 at the supermarket for 2 giant sacks. I don't know about you, but I don't need to spend $3,000 on caviar. Maybe that's what these scientists are hoping too. They can bring home caviar to the family. All right, next science-y one we got here is, again, a bit unusual. Eco-friendly mats made of waste hair tested to grow soybeans in Japan. Soy, female. Are we connecting the dots here? I didn't think about this when I was preparing. Just get all conspiratorial randomly. They're going to first turn the fish into chicks, then they're going to turn us into chicks. Then they're going to make us even more chicks by having us eat soybean mats. The Japanese branch of a U.S. environmental organization has launched a pilot project to recycle hair discarded by salons into soil covers for sustainable farming. Matter of Trust Japan, the Tokyo office of the San Francisco-based organization, began a 5-month trial in July, making 30 mats out of human hair for a soybean field with an area of 20 square meters in Yamanashi Prefecture. Hair mats help retain soil moisture and reduce evaporation while providing nutrients such as nitrogen and keratin, it says. Quote, I knew about hair mats for cleaning up oil spill along the coastline of Mauritius in 2021 and thought of adapting this technique to Japan, said Nanako Hama, 45, the founder of the Japanese branch. Such mats have been used in a similar project in Chile since 2021, helping to increase harvests by 30%, according to the Matter of Trust Japan. The mats, made of hairs 10 centimeters or longer on the exterior and packed with shorter ones inside, require about 600 to 700 grams of hair and take 30 to 40 minutes to make. Since the Japanese branch was established in 2023, Hama and other skilled volunteers have worked together, entwining hair donated by salons with a special machine provided by the U.S. head office. I want to change the image of hair waste that actually has great potential to become a new resource, Hama said. Where else have we heard about harvesting human hair for certain elements of production? Long time ago, I had to bite my tongue a few times to be like, and the human hair is coming from, donated by Israel from exploits in Gaza or something like that. Oops, I said it anyways. I don't think that's what's happening here at all, but there's these echoes that live in our mind. Hey, Leo, it's not that funny. You don't need to laugh. Should I be making such jokes in front of an infant, in front of a 1-month-old baby? Well, I was on the Shinkansen with my son the other day, who's half Japanese, and I offered him some dried squid, and he was like, no, I'm not eating that. And I looked him dead in the eye and I said, find your inner Asian and eat the dried squid. He looked at me in horror and turned away. Eventually he did eat it, but it was not to great effect. He didn't ask for more. So I don't think he's found that inner Asian. You go around Asia and people are just dried squid everywhere. Oh yeah, and please donate at paypal.me/JapanWUT. That's paypal.me/JapanWUT. All right, so that's kind of the weird science. One thing I like to cover about that is that it's not AI or it's not digital. Sometimes we think with technology these days that it has to be on a screen or wireless and stuff like that. But in fact, much of the technological progress being made these days is done outside of the computer. You know, all the textiles and new types of clothing that we can buy and have access to are that's not really from a computer or rare earth elements being harvested and processed in China somewhere so that we can have little chips that make things go whiz and whir. A lot of this new scientific development is kind of ignored because of the amount of emphasis we place on the digital world these days. And that's what we're going to switch into right now. We're going to switch into we're going to do a lot of Japan Society 5.0 for today.
The fourth industrial revolution will enable us to create a new society.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence will transform the big data collected through the Internet of Things into new wisdom. Society 5.0, a technology-based, human-centered society. The fourth industrial revolution will raise our standard of living and solve various challenges we face. It will, for example, free us from the stress of driving, allowing us to safely visit anyone, anytime. We will have access to the latest medical advancements at a low cost, no matter where we are. AI and robots will enhance human ability and expand our infinite possibilities, helping us enjoy more fulfilling lives. Society 5.0, for the betterment of human lives.
All right, and that's Japan Society 5.0, created in 2016, 2017. Most of those realities haven't come to fruition, unfortunately, except on the surveillance side. And on that note, a couple of weeks ago, I had covered the rapid rise of stablecoins across the economic lands, where, in fact, the total processing volume of stablecoins in 2024, apparently, around then, was it 2023 or 2024, exceeded the amount of processing volume of MasterCard and Visa combined by somewhere around 8%. So, but everybody knows about Visa and MasterCard or credit cards, but not everybody I know really knows about stablecoins, yet there's more stablecoin transactional volume being processed right now than credit cards. This is because I think stablecoins are probably not so much a consumer thing. A lot of it has to do with trading and volumes or companies using it to avoid Forex volatility and stuff like that. But Chappie, who we met up a few weeks ago, good dude, he sent me this after listening to one of the previous podcasts. And this is Japan Post Bank to launch blockchain-based digital yen. Now, I have a bit of a standing in blockchain when I was working in big tech from 2015 to 2020 at a telecom, one of the major telecom companies in Japan. One of my students was the director of blockchain for the company, and we spent a lot of time together looking at blockchain payments, blockchain-based applications. And one of my tasks was to kind of comb through the internet and create kind of content or files or materials for this guy to understand better the international situation of blockchain use technology. So, you know, you do that for a few years and you gain some standing in that area. And, there's always trade-offs. That's the thing. You can look at a centralized system or a decentralized system and prefer one to the other. But in effect, most people just say there's trade-offs. For example, you might be using a bank, which is a centralized system, but if there's an error that occurs at the bank, there's some sort of money trail where you can go and talk to somebody and right that wrong. But for example, blockchain-based payments, Bitcoin being one of them, if I send you Bitcoin, but I make a mistake and I send it to the wrong address, it's just gone. There's no way you can't just call somebody and have them go, oh yeah, we saw that. We'll issue a correction and we'll email you and we'll follow up or whatever they do. Not always the case, right? When you get somebody on the phone talking like this and they say, yes, sir, we'll correct it right away, then you know that maybe blockchain might be better. But If it's still localized, then there's that. So this is coming to us from NHK, and it looks like we can play the audio here. So I'm just going to set that up. All right, and I believe we can just hit the button here and let's go. This is coming to us from NHK, published on September 2nd. But this is not a breaking news podcast, and if you didn't know that Japan Post Bank is going to launch a blockchain-based digital yen, well, now's the time to find out.
Japan Post Bank says it plans to issue a digital yen backed by deposits to improve the efficiency of financial transactions for customers. The bank on Monday said it aims to issue the tokenized yen in fiscal 2026 using blockchain technology to prevent fraud. Customers will be able to open a digital wallet and convert savings into the tokenized currency. The bank has about 190 trillion yen, or more than $1.2 trillion in deposits. It says the digital service will lower costs for customers and enable speedier purchases of financial products. The bank says it will also allow for faster distribution of government subsidies to citizens.
We want to create a system that a broad range of customers can use. This will allow us to create new payment methods and cultivate new markets.
GMO Aozora Net Bank launched a similar digital yen service last year.
All right, and that person who was talking there was Nana Umi Hideki, a manager at the bank. So just a couple of comments on that. It said that the Japan Post, which operates as a banking service and it manages pension funds, I believe, too, something along those lines. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry about that. But it said that it has $1.2 trillion in deposits. It's one of the largest in the world, and they are aiming to tokenize it. So I'm not sure what that exactly means for the average Japanese citizen. It's NHK, so it just tells you the government's doing this and it's good and you should like it. That's basically the role of the NHK in Japan. It doesn't really say how it will benefit us. So it just says you'll get free stuff in the future from the government and it will be cheaper for you. But there we go. It's just the idea that this digital currency is just something for the crypto weirdos or for Bitcoin maximalists, or for kind of weird fringe financial services. Now it's spreading into the mainstream, and in Japan it's coming from the top down. So I guess we'll see where it goes, but it's definitely spreading in Japan. All right, let's take a look at the next topic here. Just a follow up from one of the startups in Japan that I'm that I'm enjoying following right now. I'm loving it. Is Sakana AI. And they're just explaining a little bit about their approach to artificial intelligence here. This comes to us from japantoday.com, but I think it's originally from AFP. Sakana is one of Japan's highest valuated startups for AI, over $1 billion. But the CEO of the company, David Ha, I watched his interview for some sort of press release, and he said it doesn't matter if it's funny money or not. We're basically focused on creating products for our customers that they will use and enjoy, and that's how they plan to make money. So they don't really care about the evaluation, it seems. They just care about putting teams together and putting products out there, and that's kind of why I'm following them. Also, their idea of Sakana AI, Sakana meaning fish. And if you ever watch those underwater documentaries of how fish kind of have their own intelligence, kind of similar to birds flocking around, and then the Sakana logo itself is one of those fish branching off into a different direction. Kind of says that there's a unique philosophy by the founder of this company, and I believe that to be the case. So this just kind of goes into it, explaining the human side of Sakana AI. And let's begin. When David Haas started an AI company in Japan with his former Google colleague, they had a choice: create another huge energy-intensive tool like ChatGPT or go their own way. Since its 2023 launch, the value of their firm, Sakana AI, has soared past $1 billion, becoming Japan's fastest startup to reach the so-called unicorn status. Quote, "In a space like AI, everyone's kind of doing the same thing. They're just like collecting the world's data, building a gigantic model, and sucking up all this energy, Ha told AFP. For a new venture, the chance of success is actually quite low, especially in Japan, he said, where the resources to run power-hungry data centers are scarce. Instead of going head-to-head with top players like OpenAI or Alibaba, Sakana aims to merge existing and new systems, large and small, to develop what it calls collective intelligence. In many countries, people are debating, should I use a Chinese model or should I use a US model, Ha said, referring to AI foundation models trained on vast amounts of data. But in today's tumultuous world, quote, you can imagine a scenario where a certain provider might turn off their models, he added. It's the right way to think about it. This guy's really smart. He has a PhD in mathematics from Tokyo University, the top university in Japan. And for those traditional fields of study, you got to be really smart to not only get in, but to accomplish it. And then as a result, you get massive amounts of connections. That's basically a career path. Combining the best aspects of multiple systems means Sakana AI-powered programs could be, in theory, to continue to operate, he said, even if with highly lower performance at the beginning. Sakana's approach has won it the support of U.S. chip giant NVIDIA, as well as Japanese banks and other businesses keen to get ahead in the fast-moving world of generative artificial intelligence. Ha, a Hong Kong-born Canadian and long-term Japan resident, is a former Google Brain research scientist who previously traded derivatives for Goldman Sachs. He founded Sakana AI with ex-Google researcher Leon Jones, co-author of a groundbreaking 2017 machine learning paper, and Ren Ito, who has held positions in Japan's foreign ministry. That's the Todai connection. Sakana's team numbers more than 100, including contractors, and its unassuming offices are located in a shared Tokyo startup space. Japan is pouring tens of billions of dollars into AI and semiconductors, hoping to claw back some of its 1980s tech glory, but there is some way to go. And it kind of goes on from there. The tools developed by Sakana AI include a Japanese language chatbot called Tiny Sparrow that works offline, protecting users' privacy. Another trained on historical Japanese literature responds to text queries in samurai-like language. That's for advertising purposes, I would assume. Some coders have pointed out problems like the output of Sakana projects such as AI Scientist, a bid to automate scientific discovery, whose paper passed a peer review process this year, and in others built to improve the efficiency of AI engineering. In any case, people take these concepts very seriously, Ha said, and work can progress quickly, like the evolution of AI-generated video. In May, Sakana announced a multi-year partnership with Japanese megabank MUFG to develop bank-specific AI systems. While Ha wants to keep Sakana's AI research team small and niche, the arm of the startup that helps Japanese businesses and the public sector deploy AI is growing. It kind of goes on from there. It's a very generic article, but puts a human spin on it, showing they have a very serious background, growing clients while having also a philosophical edge to them by a guy who has massive amounts of experience in the industry. And he just really likes Japan. Oh no, I really got that feeling from him. He doesn't seem like some Chinese spy at all. He seems like somebody who came to Japan, learned the language, went to a top-tier university, gathered talent, made connections, and is now trying to help Japan out with its sovereign AI initiatives by also having products being deployed into top-tier institutions throughout the country. So a very interesting person, very interesting company. And the fact that they also have an interesting name like Sakana AI says that they might just like be interesting or something. I don't know. What I don't like about a lot of the tech terminology is it's everything like Facebook, Oracle, these kind of very generic names. Even just, I can't think of it right now, but they're going in their own path with their own individuality. And I think that's just super interesting in this field. All right. We're going to take a look at some press releases that I got Grok to rewrite. Now, this kind of combines a little bit of politics with Japan Society 5.0. But I was doing some research, and it's this new political party is appointing an AI agent as its leader of the political party in Japan. So I guess we'll just change topics here. Are these people high or not high?
High or not high?
Probably not high because it's Japan, but I think the sentiment makes itself clear. Japan's path to Rebirth Party appoints AI as leader in bold political experiment. Now, I did some research online, got some links, pasted them into Grok, and got Grok to rewrite it because, well, I didn't do that with the last article about Sakana AI because it was kind of about a personality. The way that article is written, it jumps around a lot, and I just want to stay on topic. I just want to focus on the thing instead of having to be like, here's the thing, but it was over here, and then they were over there. And it comes back to the thing, like the writers being too clever. Oh, look at me, I'm clever. I can segue and do all these things. But I would just rather know about the thing if I'm doing the news. So enough of me doing that thing that I'm just criticizing that other writer of doing. And I got Grok to just rewrite it to focus on the thing. Remember to go to MatthewPMBigelow.com or wherever you get your finest podcasts to check out the other podcasts and more. Excuse me. On September 16th, 2025, Japan's path to Rebirth Party, Fukatsu no Michito, made headlines by announcing an artificial intelligence as its new leader, a global first for a political party. The audacious move follows the resignation of founder Shinji Ishimaru, a former mayor who gained traction in the 2024 Tokyo gubernatorial race, but saw the party falter in the 2025 Upper House and Tokyo Assembly elections. The decision aligns with Japan's push for sovereign AI, connecting it back to the previous article, and reflects the growing global experimentation with AI in governance, such as Albania's recent AI virtual minister, Diela. The AI for this party, yet to be named or fully specified, will focus on administrative tasks like resource allocation, leaving policy decisions to party members. Koki Okumura, a 25-year-old AI doctoral student at Kyoto University, won an internal contest to serve as the party's nominal human leader and AI assistant. Details on the AI's model and implementation timeline remain undisclosed, sparking curiosity and skepticism. On X, reactions range from excitement over tech-driven politics to concerns about accountability and decision-making. Launched in January 2025, the Path to Rebirth Party lacks a fixed platform, allowing members to pursue individual agendas. I like this. That's very interesting. The AI experiment could redefine political operations, potentially inspiring similar moves globally. As Japan accelerates its AI strategy under ex-Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's policies, the party's gamble may test public trust in AI-led governance, marking a pivotal moment in the intersection of technology and democracy. A couple of years ago now, I covered that the Japanese government was working with Microsoft, Google, and other bigwig tech companies to basically formulate AI governance policies for regional governments of Japan. And that kind of creeped me out because I don't really trust the inner workings of Microsoft and Google. These have serious connections to American intelligence or America pan-industrialism, where the technology itself is good, but you kind of don't want the values being spread inside of your own systems. It's kind of nice just to have buy the technology and use it the way you want. But I'm not sure if Microsoft would have that in their best interest to just help other countries do their thing. So in a way, it's good that the Fukatsu no Michito, the Japan's Path to Rebirth Party, is using an AI as its new leader. Moving on. So is that high or is that not high?
High or not high?
Now, with this next one, we're going to revisit an old chestnut, an old nugget that I had been focusing on for quite a while, and then it dropped off, but we're revisiting it. So I think this is a good idea. Do you think it's a good idea?
Is it?
A good idea?
Oh, is it?
A good idea for you or a bad idea? Now, DXYZ, the Frido facial recognition tech, has been spreading a lot in new construction for facial recognition locking systems for new apartment buildings and such, condominiums. And the systems are even being used in East Timor for the shipping industry, for logging in and logging out of work on the shipyards and stuff like that. So this technology is spreading, and for me, there's not a lot of people in Japan who actually want to dive deep into the world of AI and facial recognition and such, but there's enough of them. So by this company building its new condominiums, or by having new construction companies license its technology inside of their new buildings, it finds the market for people that want to use this stuff and then can expand further from it. So for example, you can have your face be the lock to go into the apartment building, the face to be the lock for the elevator. Now you don't need to push the button because it opens up on your floor, and your face to be the lock for your apartment. You can also, if you have guests coming over, send pictures to the in-house system to use that face as a lock for one day. And so now they can just come in and go into the elevator at the floor, and you tell them where to go, which floor, which number you are at, and so on. And then because this is a platform, not only does it exist in the in the building itself, but it's a cloud. So now you can expand out from other things. Okay, are there shops nearby that also want to use the same system? So you can now use your face as a payment system to do your shopping when you go home. So now you don't need to rifle through your bag for your wallet, get your coins out, or even tap your credit card. You just scan your face and go. This is kind of becoming a niche market, and the way to find these people is to really find the people willing to lay down a lot of money to get into the market. So if you have new people spending $500,000 on a condominium, and in part because they want to have access to the facial recognition technology, well, now you have clients with spending capital that are interested in yes-anding it. What else can this stuff do? So instead of constantly finding people scattered throughout the society to mishmash them together across who knows what type of psychographical advertising schemes you're developing, you sell them the place with the technology involved, and now you have a market for those people who are interested in it and who might even talk to each other about it if they want to. As you know, it's a new technology. You might be thinking, hey, I want to talk to this other person, and while we're waiting for the elevator about this new technology, oh, do you use your face oh, you can do that, or I was thinking about it, I'm not sure. Yeah, me neither, but I might give it a go. So you can kind of use word of mouth to accelerate the progress. So it exists in like a trifecta arena of the digital space, the infrastructural space, and the word of mouth space, where it can spread in all of those ways instead of being kind of atomized or bifurcated throughout society, where you don't know the other person who's using it, you don't know their opinions about it, and you don't know where they are. You kind of feel atomized in a way. I'm using it, but who else is? So by kind of collectivizing it into the infrastructure of new buildings and selling it out to those people, well, now you have a ready market, a pool of people with good money to further spend into this next wave of artificial intelligence markets. I learned that way of thinking when I was at the telecommunications company, and that's a smart way to do things. So let's read here. This company is called DXYZ, and their Frido, free ID, the Japanese pronunciation is Frido, is the platform that it sells. Very complex. Time for some water. Let's begin. DXYZ's Frido facial recognition ID platform, previously featured on the Japan WUT podcast, is now set to become the standard for Sense Trust's future condominiums, marking a significant advancement in keyless living. This makes Sense Trust's properties the first in the Kansai region to adopt all facial recognition as standard, starting with the Sense Residence in Shinfukae, the Sense Residence Konan Yamate. Frido enables seamless entry to shared spaces, elevators, and private units, as well as payments and identity verification, all through a single face scan. As of August 2025, 251 buildings in Japan have implemented Frido. I think the last time we looked at Frido, it had been something like 150. So in the past year and a half, it's 100 more buildings have adopted it, solidifying its role in pioneering the all facial recognition mansion concept, a DXYZ trademark. The browser-based Frido platform requires no app installation and integrates with various facial recognition AIs, adapting to diverse use cases for maximum convenience. I hate the word diverse. Residents can use it beyond apartments for urban transactions, enhancing daily life. By adopting Frido, Sense Trust boosts security, streamlines resident experiences, and increases property value, aligning with modern lifestyle demands. This move addresses the need for secure tech-driven residences. Both companies aim to expand Frido's use, delivering innovative, customer-focused solutions that redefine apartment living. Sense Trust's commitment to high-quality, future-ready properties ensures residents enjoy cutting-edge convenience and security. That was originally from a press release. Even though I got Grok to rewrite it, still rewrote it as a press release, but at least it doesn't dance around the topic. Like, it's pushing something on you, but you kind of know what it is, and it's within a framework, and it doesn't jump around to like, yeah. But local people are concerned about having their faces scanned by China. It doesn't go into some weird tangent thing like paranoia of hyper liberal journalists. It doesn't go into that at all. It's excised from it because they don't like PR. They don't like it at all. So that's another interesting thing. 250 residences now, and I've been looking at. I just focused on this DXYZ for today, but I saw some other ones when I was searching for it as well. So it's making the rounds. It's going up. It's spreading out, and it's in my way. And I've said this before, but it's been a while since I've said it, so I may as well say it again. But if we think about the two main competing forms of AI that David Ha was talking about from Sakana AI, the China AI or the American AI. Where the China AI is very fast and effective, but you kind of worry about CCP backdoors exploiting your data. And the American one is supposed to be all for democracy and everything, but oftentimes now you have very post-liberal pathologies that embed themselves into the data via biasing by having so much liberal information being input into the AI that the parameters themselves become liberal. And so it doesn't, it kind of refeeds things in a liberal bias, even though you might not want it to be liberal. Like, it's okay to be liberal and all that, but you might not want it in your data. But the fact that so much liberal data gets put into it anyways, you can't excise it out of it. So there's these two competing factions of Chinese CCP and now recently American style, but real kind of post-liberal pathological values being embedded into your AI structures. But with this system for DXYZ, it's a Japanese style system where you opt in, you pay the money to get in. It's your own will that's doing it, and it's based around the free market, and it's based around deciding what you would like the technology to do next. And so you don't need to have a giant international conglomerate system involved to make it work. You're building it from the ground up, literally in Japan, and finding the people who want to share these values with the technology to live together peacefully, in harmony with the technology, instead of kind of shoehorning it into a bunch of separate values. Just use the technology as the technology itself for the technology that it's designed to be used around. And then we avoid the dystopia, then we avoid the censorship and all of that. I'm not saying it's perfect. Like, does DXYZ build their technology in Japan, or is it imported from China, for example? I know that the company had been making efforts to do more of domestic production of their technology, because if they, for example, have now these buildings that are going to supposedly be up for 20 or 30 years using facial recognition, if the company that you're contracting with in China goes out of business or is no longer allowed to sell to Japan, and a whole bunch of your customers' cameras break down because of wear and tear, or, you know, a typhoon comes along and a stick smashes some things and they need to repair it. If you don't have access to that technology, well, can you just swap it out with the competitors? Or is there some sort of chip design or some integrated system that doesn't allow for that? So there are risks by having your own homegrown systems, but relying on imports from abroad to enable those over a long period of time. If this was just for a weekend fair to have convenience for the people going to like a music concert or whatever, you wouldn't have to have these long-term factors embedded into your business plan. But the fact that, 250 buildings now across the country are using this technology for the long term by people who want to use it, if you want to maintain that trust with them, you better have some homegrown options going out via your company's R&D section. So I hope that's going on with DXYZ. It's very promising, and I really like the this type of startup culture that's going on in Japan. It's just very industrious, very pull yourself up by the bootstraps mentality. It's kind of a boomer expression, but I just mean like DIY. We're not going to wait for somebody else to do it. We're going to do it ourselves, and we're going to find the market and the customer base, and then we're going to expand out from there with a pretty kind of market driven solution. So good for them. So it's a good idea, right?
Is it? Or is it?
All right. Sorry about that. I just had to move something here. We're kind of reaching. Let's take a look at this one. I didn't translate this, but thinking about how I mentioned like the aspect of dystopia with all of this stuff, especially when it's done from the state level. What I like about the hotel thing, not the hotel, but the residences that use the facial recognition technology, is that if you're walking past it and you don't know about it, you don't really know it's there. It's not like a giant camera staring at you with a government person with a microphone going, "Citizen, move along. We are watching you." You know, kind of creepy. It's just a hole in the wall. You wouldn't even notice it. And it has a distinct beginning and ending. When you're in the building, it's there. When you leave the building, it's not there until you go to a shop that has it and you can use it if you want. So these are real clear-cut examples. But the panopticon and the dystopia kind of exists when it's applied at the state level, and then new people get into the state and start tinkering around with some panopticon, right? It's a panopticonical toy for these often uneducated like Luddite. They don't have degrees in technology. They often have degrees in social work or something else that the government might be interested in. But now they're handed over a panopticon. And what do they do with it? So this is coming to us from New South Wales, but it's from a Japanese website called innovatopia.jp. 140 million AI-enabled cameras monitor passengers, causing seatbelt fines to rise sharply in New South Wales. Now, I believe that's Australia. Let's begin. AI-equipped seatbelt detection cameras began full operation in New South Wales in July 2024, and fine revenue for the 2024 to 2025 fiscal year jumped from $3.7 million in the previous year to $59 million. Because you don't get pulled over by the cops. The AI camera scans every car, and if you're not belted up, you get a fine with the number plate reader, the license plate reader. That's your car. That's you. During the same period, more than 140 million vehicles were scanned and 132,000 fines were issued, with a violation rate of 0.09%, and 88% of those who violated the rules were wearing their seatbelts incorrectly. Fines of $410 or more per offense will incur 3 demerit points. AI will detect suspicious images, and revenue for New South Wales staffs will issue fines after review. The number of violations in July 2025 is down 60% compared to July 2024 when the system was first introduced. So it's effective. 251 people have died on state roads this year, up from 208 in the same period last year. So it's not working. The government says 15% of fatal crashes involved not wearing a seatbelt. Minister for Regional Transport and Roads, Jenny Aitchison, said more than 99% of drivers are behaving properly and explained that cameras check all vehicles around 20 times a year. So take it with it. Like, if you're a public health expert, you're probably thinking this is good. But if you're a civil rights expert, you're kind of thinking, what if they just start introducing new laws? So everybody's wearing their seatbelts now, and now we don't have that revenue. Well, we need to get that revenue. So let's just make it so you have to have your seatbelt between your shoulder and your clavicle. And if it's tucked around your neck, well, that's a fine. If it's draped over the outside of your shoulder, well, that's a double fine, because that might cause extra damage if you crash. And we have to think about the health industry. You're going to overcrowd our hospitals. So we have these aspects as well of the slippery slope. And it is kind of weird that, I guess, if you're on the highway, you're kind of expected to be monitored. There's so many rules, and it is a very shared space by so many people. So I kind of support it, but I also feel like, is this just, how can we prevent it from being turned into a nickel and dime dystopia where everything you do is just extracted from you for some small violation that some AI camera picks up 300 meters away and you don't even know where it is? At least with the cops, they stop you and say, hey, what are you doing? Or if you're going through an intersection, maybe. But just like this constant carpet of surveillance does, I don't know, that's the future, unfortunately. Good luck stopping. I oppose this. Okay, I guess we'll stop then. Thank you. No, it's happening. It's not in the future, and it's happening now. So that's the New South Wales segment. I got some other things here. Remember, donate. PayPal.me/Japan WUT. That's PayPal.me/Japan WUT. Your donations are appreciated. Now, this dovetails into the previous article. These things are all lining up pretty nicely today. Now, one thing that I can see where this, instead of having the blanket on the road for every violation with AI cameras installed by the government that can be tweaked over time, like that, it really does freak me out. The other aspect is to have AI used on the road by logistics companies to handle their own logistics more professionally and prudently. But this also might put pressure on workers to complete tasks in certain periods of time where they might be penalized or not receive bonuses or something like that. So let's just take a look at this. This one comes to us from the monoist.itmedia.co.jp, and it's directly translated using machine translation. CEC and Sony Semiconductor to provide system to automatically record loading time and support work efficiency. CEC announced on September 4th that it began collaborating with Sony Conductor Solutions on logistics DX solutions. DX means digital transformation. Starting on the same day, CEC will provide a berth management system that will streamline logistics operations. BERTH, not BIRTH. The system being offered combines CEC's logistics efficiency with SSS's Edge AI sensing platform, Atrius. With this system, an AI camera recognizes the license plate of a truck as it enters or leaves a berth, which is a loading or unloading workspace, and automatically records the process from arrival to departure, as well as the work results. This reduces the efforts and errors involved in manual entry and increases the accuracy of records. The system is provided flexibly according to the scale of the logistics company. A standard package can be introduced for small-scale sites, while a system can be built and customized for large-scale logistics environments. It is also possible to expand the system to include gate control by vehicle number and signage integration. In the logistics industry, restrictions on overtime work will come into effect, has come into effect in April of last year, requiring compliance with the 2-hour rule to limit waiting and unloading and loading work to 2 hours. The berth management system created through the collaboration between the two companies will automatically and accurately record waiting and loading and unloading work times, contributing to reducing waiting and working times. It kind of goes on from there. Excuse me. The digital cost of the system is about 1 million yen, which is about $10,000 or $7,000 now, $6,000, including 4 cameras, a communication environment situation, and the licensing fee. And the monthly fee is about $1,300. CEC will widely distribute the system, aiming for sales of 3 billion yen by 2030. 2030. And I just included that in there to compare it to the New South Wales panopticonical, taxing system where you tax your citizens as they're going around the place. It says they were wearing their seatbelts incorrectly. It didn't say they were not wearing their seatbelts, by the way. So who knows what that means? But this one here, if you're pressuring your workers to be faster and you still use the same systems as before, paper systems or filing systems, or the driver or some sort of person associated with the driver has to do a bunch of checking and paperwork and all that, well, that's not going to solve the solution, is it? So if you use cameras that can look at where the truck is at, is coming and going, when it came, when it left, how much was offloaded, using scales, cameras, sensors, and combine that into a system. Now the driver or the person working there doesn't have to spend so much time with the rigmarole of paperwork, and the automated systems can handle most of it. And I think it could reduce fraud as well. People who've been working a long time find ways to, work through the system. And that's usually a good thing because the system is trying to work through you too. But maybe having it automated with AI and cameras to just streamline the supply chain. This could be a supply chain war segment. War on the drivers, but we're not going to do that. Or will we?
Die for the war, everybody moves. Die for the good, die for the war, die for the war.
For the supply chain wars. And I prefer this system. Like if I was having to choose, like if somebody had a gun to my head and they're like, you have to choose between the New South Wales Panopticonical Solutions or the CEC Sony Semiconductor to provide system to automatically record loading time and support work efficiency, choose now. I would definitely choose the privatized industry. This method seems to just involve less amount of psychotic government intrusion into our lives. So, but then again, if we only let the private industry do it, well, then they become the new superpower that can take over the government with their more advanced technology. Is that a good thing? I don't know. But that's going to be it for the Japan WUT podcast for today. Please remember to go to MatthewPMBigelow.com to check out the links and more. I post all the links up there. And also make a donation at paypal.me/JapanWUT. That's paypal.me/JapanWUT. I'm going to play the Japan Society jingle here to eject us from the segment.
The fourth industrial revolution will enable us to create a new society. Artificial intelligence will transform the big data collected through the Internet of Things into new wisdom. Society 5.
Actually, before we sign off here, it was my brother's birthday last week, and I used the Suno.com AI music generator to make podcasts, instrumental podcasts featuring the cutting edge of AI music generation. But I was also using it just to send him a birthday song as a joke, just as a toy. I'm not trying to blow anyone's mind with this stuff. It's just kind of funny that you could send somebody a little song, or you could make an AI generated song for their own personal birthday enjoyment. So I'm actually going to play the song that I made for my brother. And if you want to do that too, you can go to suno.com and make some songs for free. And you can send little tunes to the people you supposedly love. So let's play. This one is called Happy Birthday, Brother.
My brother grips his den old A birthday spent at work, what's new? No strippers' tease, no mayor's call. Just teeth to mend and treated air. Each patient's grin a job to do. Another molar he's grinding through. Happy birthday, brother, what a treat. Happy birthday stuck in your seat. You carve with a steady aim. Happy birthday in your seat of meat. No cake or rice to break the flow. Just work, work, work where duties grow. Each shiny tooth, ching, ching, ching. The office ticks with endless calls. In salmon arm, you're locked in place. Another dentist's office you should buy. Happy birthday, brother, what a treat. Happy birthday stuck in your seat. You carve with a steady aim. Happy birthday in your seat of meat. You're digging and digging and digging and digging. You're digging and digging and digging and digging. Happy birthday, brother, what a treat. Happy birthday stuck in your seat. You carve with a steady aim. Happy birthday in your seat of meat. Dig, 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 brother, dig. Dig, 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 brother, dig. Dig, 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 brother, dig.
MatthewPMBigelow.com. Until next time, everybody, a very heartful and warmful Ja Mata Ne.